Hello all you beautiful people, how you doing today? This is Lava Temptress and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome, hi! Today we're going to play Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York, because it is one of the humble choice, and well, I gotta take a look at it, so I already adjusted the settings a little bit, so let's just hop in and choose what we're going to play. So we choose our clan, Bruja, the rebel against power and rage against authority, seemingly insignificant man with significant ideas will join the ranks tonight. Ventrue. The aristocrat blue bloods embody wealth, sovereignty, and control. A top-level corporate executive will join the ranks tonight. Theodore. The divas seek thrill of art, romance, and cruelty amidst stagnant and death. Tormented artists will join their ranks tonight. The artistic thing works for me, so I'm gonna go with Theodore. Lamar. No, let's just go with Lava. New York taught me to believe in fate. Have you asked me about the fate back when I was human, I would have told you it's just superstitious bullshit. There we are, all designers of our own destinies. The belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep in my neck. It happened in the very same place you're standing in right now. By the way, fate? You decide. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little longer. See, my mistake was that I flew too close to the sun. It makes sense that my punishment was to never see it glow again. I was incandescent myself. I was hot shit. I had it all. Money, looks, confidence, connections, men, women, a career, and a spark in my eye, the one that you need to be born with. And that's when someone far more powerful than me saw radiance and thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within and gave me a subtle, enduring gleam in its place. She decided that would fit me much better. She was a 9th generation kindred, just like you, an apex predator. She probably enjoyed teaching me the peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. It's such an eyesore when you look at some loudmouth braggart and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? Well, my sire's lesson was a lesson about fate, a message saying you're eternally doomed to be all at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists, and no one can shape it if it given the right tools, and one can shape it. Excuse me, read that wrong. And one can shape it if given the right tools. I do believe that. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me just her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here, standing right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I've learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day some of my associates weren't expecting the coffins. Driving you here straight from the plane and having you wake up in an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. But it is so rare for you to visit New York. 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? And you've never eager to inform me you're here. I understand you still have that meeting on 53rd Street later tonight, so I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much, don't get me wrong. But it is precisely because I value it that I'm going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I'd trust to do the job well and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it's impossible to get away with it unpunished. But this is New York, and I don't know about other cities, but in this one, fate really exists. And right now, it's smiling in your favor. This is how it begins. You stifle a yawn. I've been doing that all morning. It's been a slow evening. The little bit of red liquid left in your glass and the crumbs on the plate remind you that, if nothing else, these art exhibits at least come with some decent wine and legit catering. And yeah, it's fun to talk about your work on display, even if you end up discussing it with pretty much the same people at each such occasions. Boy, ain't that the truth. You've already met the one critic who keeps telling you, with self-assured authority, how you should pursue a different artistic avenue. Then there's the obligatory doe-eyed art student who's oh so impressed with your technique. To be fair, you're not all that happy with your last piece, but hey, it's not the worst thing you've seen tonight. That ignoble, dubious honor belongs to one of the other paintings on display. Boy, I keep getting tongue-tied, huh? And yet its author, currently being paraded around by his rich parents, has barely been able to grab a bite of the fancy canapes. So much sycophants to meet so little time. For a moment you think that maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you should take the critic's advice, cut your losses, sell out to some corporate, and get it over with. And as if the universe wanted to validate that train of thought, that's the exact moment your sister Emma decides to pop up in your view. So let me get this straight. Cushy corporate jobs are selling out, but supporting a billionaire's vanity project is totally fine with you? Hi, Em. You absolutely despise her as an artist, while you're struggling to uphold some Nubius ideas of what art is meant to be. She's perfecting her ways of mooching off the system. Shamelessly preying on little-known street art and niche internet memes, she repackages them as Borgie-friendly collages. It's perhaps no wonder the NYT has recently dubbed her a mind-blowing explorer of the digital art's extreme possibilities. But in spite of all that, you absolutely love her as a person, even as you welcome her by smacking the back of her head, a gesture meant to convey nothing but deep affection. No, but seriously, supporting young artists, my ass. I don't know what kind of money you got for this piece, but I doubt it was even a fraction of what it's going to be worth in tax benefits. The gallery owner actually said that if he had to choose his most valuable audience, it would be the IRS, and I'm pretty sure he was only half kidding. You mumble a non-answer and then segue into a different subject, trying to preemptively quell her repeat offers to get you a steady job. Of course, she proves insistent as ever. You know, sometimes I just don't get you. On the other hand, you wouldn't be caught dead taking money from the inevitable winner of the culture wars. On the other, if someone gave you the chance to collaborate on some dumbass Oscar bait flick sponsored by Larry Ellison's bailout fund, you'd do that shit for free. She rolls her eyes and asks, you know that the only difference is between the art scene and the cultural industry? The cultural industry actually pays your bills. As expected of someone who's given up on attempts to infuse her work with any sort of enduring quality and decided to just keep responding to the zeitgeist. She claims to happily accept the fact that after she dies, both she and her work will end up in a landfill. When you respond that you prefer chasing a once-in-a-million chance to immortalize yourself, she claims it reeks of an overinflated ego. But you've been down this road too many times before and managed to accept she'll never understand what's truly important to you. Slowly but surely, you move on to more agreeable topics. Your plans to finally get hammered together, or the most recent crop of garbage Netflix show your friends have tricked you into trying out. All right, gotta go. I've got a date. She peeks at a bunch of middle-aged men in expensive suits who have stopped pretending to care about the exhibition and are exchanging the worst licorice jokes they've got in their stale repartee. Have fun with your friends, class traitor. She gives you a hug and heads out for the nearby elevator. There goes the pleasant part of the evening. Still, you decide to delay the inevitable and catch a quick smoke break. Truth be told, people aren't actually lining up to chat about your work anyway. As you leave your post, you start tapping your pockets and search for a lighter. Instead, you find a $100 bill. You're absolutely sure that wasn't there before. Jesus Christ, Em, you're the worst. And the best. You can feel your cheeks turn red, but you gratefully put the money in your wallet and move outside. When you reach the balcony, you look out at New York City and light the second last cigarette left in the pack. You're alone. It's not silent. The metropolitan hum is ever present, even this high up, but it's a good deal more intimate than what's behind your back. You lean over the railing and look down. The streetlights beckon more than usual. In your mind's eye, you see yourself as your final artwork, beautifully splattered all over the pavement. Working title, Delusion of Grandeur. The author, a brilliant artistic soul crushed by unfeeling reality gone too soon. You chuckle and flick the cigarette into the air. Freshened up by the night's cool breeze, you squeeze back into the stuffy interior. You barely make it a few steps before lethargy sets back in. It's like you'd never left. Still, something in the room feels different. Your eyes are drawn to a handsome young man, neatly dressed and groomed, exuding the air of a true artiste. And the best part, he's intently looking at your painting. The gallery is almost like an art installation itself now. People standing in silent awe, the guy like a beacon drawing everybody's attention. Hushed conversations about the guests can be heard from every corner of the gallery. Your heart is pounding with excitement, and you approach feeling like a kid, trying to get closer to a deer in the woods, but you're afraid you'll scare it away. The man turns to you, and you stop in your tracks, entranced. So this is one of your pieces? You manage to mumble an affirmation. Tell me about it, please. As you start discussing your inspiration, technique, and process, the man's eyes lock onto the painting again. He keeps interjecting, making knowing remarks. The guy gets it. He really gets it. The world around you disappears. You'll say anything, do anything to keep his attention on you. But you realize you don't need to. He's into your art. He's into you. I want to buy it, and I want your company. I need to talk to you. You will like what I have to say. Spoken matter-of-factly, served straight up, like he knows that you won't refuse, that you can't refuse. An hour later, you find yourself at his apartment, one of many, you presume, with your self-esteem all but patched up and your head full of fine vintage. You tell your host a lot. In fact, it seems like you're telling him everything. Where you came from, how you ended up in New York City, how you had to take out a loan to appear at tonight's event, how you took the long look down the balcony, that you thought about taking the plunge, and this time you were only half joking. You feel miserable. You start crying. He holds you in his arms. You feel calmer. The tears stop flowing. It's been so long since you had someone you could not just talk to, but communicate with, be seen by. Who knows? Maybe there's hope for you yet. That feeling of bliss is the last thing you remember before passing out. Next thing you know, you're lying on the couch in that same apartment, hungry and dehydrated. How long has it been? Hours? Days? More? You're feeling weak, confused, abandoned. You look around in a panic. Is he still here? Thank God, yes. There he is, standing in the doorway. His voice breaks the silence and fills you with hope, until you realize what he's saying. I am so sorry. I hope that maybe one night you will forgive me. Always remember that in our parting moments, I wished you well. You try to speak, ask him to stay, but no voice leaves your parched throat. You taste something on your lips. Wiping your mouth leaves a crimson stain on your hand. It's not the wine. What the fuck? The door of the apartment closes behind him, alone, again. Then the pain hits. It's a headache, a lurching in your stomach, a burning in your arms and legs. It's all you can focus on. A panic takes you. You fall from the sofa and hit a wine glass. It flies off into the wall, shattering into bits. A mumble from the corner of the room indicates you're not as alone as you thought. From where you're lying, you only see a feminine shape stirring awake. You crawl towards the woman, inch by inch. The pain turns into an urge. You need to get close to her. You begin to see details. The long hair shrouding her face, the worn-out NYC hoodie thrown over her skimpy dress. She opens her eyes, moves her locks to the side, exposes her neck. A rabid instinct takes you. In the blink of an eye, you find yourself buried in her hair, smelling her sweet, mixed with a hint of cheap perfume. You bite down and drink the blood from her vein. Wait. Wait. What is happening? You break away. You look at the girl. She lets out a sigh, goes limp and unconscious again. You try to call back, her dress rolled up to the side, and you glance at her naked thigh. You lose control again. Bite her leg. Drink deep from the artery. It's intoxicating. It's bliss like you've never known before. It's beautiful. You break away again, fall to your back. What the hell was that? Did you really drink her blood? She's not moving. Oh God, she's not moving. She looks cute. You check her pulse. She's cold to the touch. Nothing. No heartbeat. No sign of breathing. That's when it hits you. Your chest isn't moving either. Your heart is not beating. You are cold to the touch. You reach for your phone. It's not there. Where did you leave it? Or maybe he took it. Impossible to say. You stumble around the apartment, but find nothing you can use to call for help. Achievement unlocked beyond the canvas. You need to get out of here now. You look outside the window. You're high above the streets. There's no balcony, and the building's exterior is glass almost all the way down. You'll never survive that jump. But maybe that's precisely why you should leave this room this way. You've just killed somebody. Your life is essentially over. A sickening void is opening in your stomach, warning you that your reality is about to turn into unbearable hell. A voice in the back of your head tells you that the smartest course of action is to take the leap before it does. And the more you argue with it, the more reasonable it sounds. You're just about ready to pick up one of the chairs and try to break the window when you hear the clicking of keys in the lock. You freeze in place. This is bad. Your thoughts start racing desperately, but instead of a rational course of action, only visions of false hope come to your mind. What if it's him? What if he's had a change of heart? What if he sent someone for me? You almost feel your heartbeat again with excitement as the doors open. Almost, but not quite. A man enters, but not the one you expected. He's tall, broad shoulders, handsome, with darkish skin. His suit is stylish and immaculate. You've never seen him in your life, but you immediately see past his sharp looks to see his sharper nature. He is a predator. And if you're not careful, you might become his prey. Good evening. I'm here to pick you up. A deep, emotionless voice. He turns his eyes to the lifeless body of the girl in the NYC hoodie and raises an eyebrow. Who are you? Oh, I look hot, huh? I'm the ferryman, here to take you to the other side. He approaches the bed to examine the corpse from up close. Well, this is unfortunate, but preferably to going insane from hunger. Quite a nice gesture, actually, if troublesome. He briefly looks at you with something like pity in his eyes, then changes his expression to a perfectly blank one. Listen, you may perceive your current situation as something out of the ordinary, but I've met hundreds of lost sheep like you, and you see, they tend to fall into two categories. First, there were the smart ones, those who carefully obeyed my every word and didn't pull off any stupid stunts. They always got where they needed to go, safe and sound. Then there were the dumb ones. The punks who thought they could take me on. The wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly and without permission. The troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, a lot of them never reached their destination at all. The man talks in a bored, professional tone, giving off an impression that he really has delivered this speech countless times by now. So you see, despite being a smart person, I'm a Mets fan. I love baseball. And it inspired me to come up with 3 strikes system to determine if someone is dumb. If you get on my nerves 1 or 2 times, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful circumstances. But if you do it 3 times, understand there will be no excuse, no forgiveness, no mercy. His presence changes ever so slightly. Say, I understand, sir. Now. You feel an overwhelming, barely resistible urge to fulfill his demand. I totally want to say fuck you, but I understand, sir. Excellent. Alright, have you got anyone you'd like to inform about your current situation and tell them you're alright? He flashes his fangs briefly as he talks, and for some reason, the sight causes a chill to run down your spine. Something's wrong with him. Someone closest to you? My sister. Emma, my sister. She's probably having a night out in Brooklyn with her artiste friends. Can I call her now? You take out your phone while asking the question. It was in your pocket all along. Must have been panic talking before. He shakes his head and points at the hooded corpse next to him. If you want to implicate her, go ahead. I think we'd all be better off if you let me make sure that she only knows what she needs to know. Yeah, agreed. Give me her phone number. I'll have someone get in touch with her. You oblige and hand him the smartphone so he can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this night onwards, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up with, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anybody you know you're still alive. You're forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes to search for you, it's over, both for you and them. He interrupts his monotone recitation to stare deeply into your eyes. So if you don't want someone to find your poor sister's body in the Hudson River next week, cooperate. The sight of his fangs again, and another physical fight or flight response. You've played right into his hands, putting him in danger. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. By now you are absolutely sure he's just toying with you, provoking you just to feed on your reactions. He hasn't told you where you're going yet, but he's already made it abundantly clear that a lot of people struggled hard to avoid getting there. You'd be far more eager to cooperate if he never raised the subject, but he made it a point to make you fear the unknown. He's pushing you, but to what end? Does he want to intimidate you into complete submission? Is he hoping you'd give him an excuse to get rid of you? Or maybe he's testing you, forcing you to show what you're made of. Somehow, he makes all of these options seem plausible at once. All right, I think that's enough lectures for today. He takes a glance at his silver watch. It's a Patek Philippe, the kind of brand mere mortals never see outside of luxury lifestyle magazines. Just who are you dealing with here? It's past 3 a.m. now. The sun will come up in just a few hours, so we don't have much time. Come, we need to leave so the corpse can be taken care of. He turns his back on you to unlock the door. Let's just head out. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna stay here and get caught by the police. Pfft, I don't know what the fuck's going on. You obediently follow him out of the room. Before he locks it again, you manage to take a final glimpse of the corpse. You feel a pang of conscience, but not because of your victim's horrible fate. It's because you didn't feel guilty, even though you know you should. Something important inside of you that was still there yesterday has definitely died tonight. You wondered if you even recognized yourself in the mirror. The stranger shows you to the elevator. You go to the ground floor. During an awkward rise, your dazed and confused mind desperately searches for a glimmer of hope, and eventually comes across one. Maybe you'll find the man you met earlier this night. Who was that man? Do you know who that man was that brought me here? That's what I'd like to know. As of yet, he is unidentified. They have left no trace, and it's obvious they are not planning to come back for you. If, and that is a big if, you ever see them again, it will be tomorrow, and probably for the last time. For the last time? What? What do you mean for the last time? His face is inscrutable. I said what I said. And all I can add for now is tomorrow is a big night for you. The elevator door opens to an empty hall. You walk outside past the night guard's post, which is empty. The cold night air reminds you of the balcony just a few hours ago. The man motions to a black Cadillac Escalade. Take a seat in the back, please. You get inside. The man closes the car door behind you. You hear a click as it locks. Damn, look at those eyes in the rearview mirror. Woohoo! The Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side window seems light-proof. The man gets into the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without comment. I feel horrible. I feel horrible. As you should. He gives you a little side glance in the rear view mirror and bites his lip. Forgive me, I'm not in a talkative mood. This won't be a long drive. Patience. Dead silence fills the car. You close your eyelids and sink back into your thoughts. A blurry after image of the man who bought your painting is still there. It's strange. You never felt this way about anybody. It makes you happy, even though you have the nagging thought that there's something fundamentally abusive about this attraction. But then the girl's hair spilled over the purple hoodie, and her blood spilled over the cold floor came into sharp focus. You wince. You want to cry, but it's as if there's no more tears left in you. After what feels like an eternity, the car comes to a stop. You get out in an underground parking lot. It's an ugly concrete gray thing. Empty, but for the car you came in. It looks like there was a room beyond a metal door in the wall. Guess you'll live to see another night. Follow me. He opens the metal door and lets you inside. Here we are. These are your lodgings for tonight. If you get hungry again, take a look in the fridge. Tomorrow, I will come pick you up. The cramped room has no windows, just a simple bed, a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling, a small humming fridge, and a rattling AC fan in the wall. It has all the coziness of a solitary prison cell. You notice claw marks on the inner side of the entrance door. Mercy, please? You gotta have some mercy, man. Let me go. Ha! Mercy. Mercy, no. Too late for that. Listen. Oh, whoops. Stranger. Haha. Listen, normally I'd lose my nerve right about now, and things would get nasty. But I get it. You're scared. You don't understand what happened. Trust me, you will learn more tomorrow. But now I need you to rest. And you need you to rest. He gestures inside the room. Finding no more willpower to resist, you step inside. The stranger nods contently. It's a crap-looking room. Good night. He locks the door behind you. It becomes very secure and sturdy. You open the fridge. There's a single plastic bag there filled with red liquid, unlabeled. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Best leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame, kind of grimy and damp. Seeing it makes you grimace, but you're just too tired not to lie down. Your entire body hurts, a dull feeling that makes you feel heavy. You feel vulnerable and lonely. Usually when that happens, you turn your attention to painting, just to not think about the alternative. Your family upbringing left you with no skills but artistic talent. Creating art used to be something of an unpleasant duty. Somewhere along the line, though, it became the only weapon you had to fight the existential despair. Some of your best work was created in lieu of impotently crying in bed. Hell, you're pretty sure a few of those pieces has your tears mixed in with the paint, like the painting that led your whole night to this. You look back at your life and it starts looking like a downward spiral. You're so tired, your body tenses up, and before you know it, you drift away into oblivion. I don't like how that noise just pops up randomly. Like, I think it could have been a different noise, and it's pretty weird. You wake up. That in itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels. The room is unchanged, the lamp is still on, the AC is still rattling, the refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You've slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? You're not sure about that, but you're certain that one thing, you are hungry. It's not your stomach rumbling, though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge. The bag is still there. You take a closer look at it. If it's soup, then its color and textures are off. You pull the cork out, take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating, but now it's it's enticing. We're gonna drink it. It feels wrong, but right now there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of the liquid into your mouth. It tastes bland, reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register as what it claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. You take a few more sips, and then just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. Eventually, you find that you've emptied it entirely. You look at the info pressed into the side of the bag. 450 milliliters of it. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. You realize your body longs for that intoxicating high you felt when an image of the corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? You try to piece your thoughts together, making sense of it all, when you hear the lock click and see the door open. Standing there is a well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again, that predatory look like a hawk on a hunt, but somehow more relaxed tonight. So, like a tame talk, maybe? Good evening. Slept well? He notices the discarded, emptied bag. I see you had a bit of a snack. Was that really blood? Was that really? Type RHO plus. Not that easy to get. Glad you liked it. Come on. Oh, come on. We've got places to be. The car is humming in the empty parking lot just outside the door of the cramped room you have spent the day in. The man motions to it politely, but with a stern look on his face. Let's get inside the car. Okay, lead the way. After you. You take the back seat again, the door is locked, the stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch glimpses of a familiar street or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's of little use. The car is almost soundproof, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic humming and the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything and seems focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door is locked all right. The piece of dark glass separating you and the front of the car looks sturdy too. There's nothing left to do but wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realize that you're hungry. No, not exactly. It's not a rumbling stomach that grabs your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You try to extract some information out of the man behind the wheel, but you realize you prefer to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected it, but you spent the rest of the trip lost in your thoughts. A lot of them concerned blood. It takes you another 20 or so minutes to get to your destination. As the door opens, you get into your bearings. You're still in New York, that much is certain. Queens, maybe. Wait, you know exactly where you are. The nice-looking two-story building has a logo you immediately recognize. The Art Hole, an avant-garde gallery, used to hold that collection of bagged viscera and body parts by... You can't quite remember the guy's name. He's Brazilian, you think. Fabio something or other? After me. No sudden movements, please. You've never been inside. Not quite your style, but the place has quite the cult following. You keep racking your brain for more facts, hoping they'll help you with whatever you got into. Two large men in suits flank the door to the gallery on both sides, and they give your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger who guides you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour to say the least. About 24 faces fill the showroom, and a number of waiters navigate the gathering serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guest attention. The visitors are well dressed for the most part, but it's unclear what they have gathered here for. Nobody seems to be particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces and animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you as if wishing to appraise your worth. Memories come back to you like a bad case of PTSD. How many times has someone judged you, impassively or decisively, through your art? You'd share a piece of yourself with the world, and I'd respond by making you feel like garbage. It always took a lot of effort to not lose your cool and tell all of them to shove their opinions up their collective asses. Now looking around, it feels like you've become another artwork, as commodity to be judged by a bunch of obscenely wealthy, out-of-touch assholes. Makes you want to scream. Good evening, Kadar. And to you, Childy. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand, the gallery. A crowd of strangers. You being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, miss. You are addressing the Prince of New York City, Helene Penhard, a Childe of Macala. Yep, those names are going to be all screwed up. That's a prince. Thank you, my sheriff, but I am capable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain-looking and doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm, but still the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people, that much is clear. You may address me as Prince Childe. I realize your introduction into unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society dictate I punish you both for this transgression. A murmur of agreement, maybe, can be heard from the gathering audience. But I am willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first. I don't understand. Wait, I'm confused. What are you saying? I think it shall all become clear momentarily. You were pushed headfirst into a world you have not realized the existence of, but before you can partake in it, there needs to be a trial. You're about to be judged by the court of New York City. Kadar, please tell us how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Prince? Is this some kind of secret society make-believe? So now we know his name's Kadar. A trusted informant who has chosen to remain anonymous at this time tipped me off about a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigation, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. Interestingly, his sire made use of an older haven of one of the clan of the Rose for the embrace. They were even thoughtful enough to leave a local woman for the fledgling to stake his thirst on. Despite some reservations, he offered little resistance last night and cooperated on our way to the safe house. I was pleased to not have to force his compliance. We had a quick chat, but wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me, which he did without struggle. A pleasant departure from my unusual routine, I must say. His thirst particularly slacked with the bagged blood we kept in the safe house. We had a pleasant enough drive here. The story ends with us arriving at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. You take special interest in one of the faces. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. You see her whispering to some bespectacled, there we go, man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Kadar. I take note of this fledgling's behavior and will take it into consideration later. She turns her attention to you. First, there is the matter of your sire, the person who brought you where Kadar picked you up from last night. Who were they? A beautiful man. He was beautiful, charismatic, charming, dark hair, a sort of artistic mess. He had an accent I couldn't recognize. He took notice of my art, bought a piece, in fact. I want to meet him again. The last sentence came out almost involuntarily. You immediately feel ashamed, sounding like a sad puppy whimper after their master. Yes. Do you want to meet the man again? It's an urge deeper than you've ever felt. Maybe even love? No, that's idiotic. He never even introduced himself to you. He used you. That asshole just plain used you. For what? Well, Kadar, does that sound familiar? No, it does not. Or at least not familiar enough. I will continue to search after we are done here. He bought my painting. That guy, he bought my painting at the gallery. Didn't pay in cash, I think. Maybe you can track him that way. Oh. Did your outlook on him change all of a sudden? He smirked, seemingly enjoying your misery. Personal jabs aside, thank you for that observation. I will investigate this later. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? The traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my duty. Thought that was me. Whoops. Stay your hand for a moment longer, Kadar. I wish to consult my council on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seems strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask Kadar what all that talk of traditions and council was when the red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sophie? Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Kadar. We know that what the verdict is going to be. Let me speak to them. You might not have stained your hands tonight after all. Her words grab his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for dominance. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, resolve. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room the way you came, and you are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside, and the eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you are in quite the pickle. What do you mean? What do you mean? I still don't understand what my crime is here. Poor thing. This really isn't your fault. But if you want to get out of here in one piece, you need to understand one crucial fact that seems to have eluded your grasp. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I am well aware of how ridiculous that sounds, but it's the reason why we have these nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire. The fact remains, the beings called vampires, you're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale, really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. No, not wine. That's not the right thickness, and it's not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it, and your breath has not returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming into a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice just keeps saying, what the fuck on repeat. That'd be me. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Quador deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you will be cut down as sure as day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. I will take you under my wing. If you are lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight, and your deference to Quadir will work in your favor. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I am not making this offer lightly as your patron. I will take responsibility for you. Your actions reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I will make sure you face the consequences. What happens if I agree? Suppose I say yes. What happens then? You survive, hopefully, or not, depending on the prince's whim. I'm giving you a chance, not a guarantee. But if you take me as your patron, I will guide you in this new reality, and you will assist me like a child would a sire. Steps and hushed voices can be heard from the side room. It seems the prince and her council are returning to the showroom. Quadar appears from the downstairs as well and starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a heart-melting smile to Quadir, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved, oriental-looking metal scabbard fastened with a colorful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Quadir takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. And this is where we're going to leave it. So, okay, so now time for my review. It's a very intriguing game. To do just the main story, apparently it takes about 5.5 hours. It's very interesting, but it's very, very much a story-based game with very limited options really to choose. So, as much as I like a story-based game, I don't know if I'm going to come back to this right away. Well, I'm already doing a story-based game playthrough right now, so... But it is one I'm going to keep in my Steam library loaded, so that way if I decide to come back and play it, I definitely will. It's not a bad review for me, it's just a not right now. But obviously you're going to really have to love story games because there is tons and tons of reading. So, if that's your kind of game, then I think you will like this. But, so far, it's just the beginning part of it, and I'm still like, what the hell's gonna happen? So, but that's what I think. And the regular price for it is $20, which I think is a little steep, but getting it in the Humble bundle is definitely worth it for me. Or Humble Choice, excuse me. But let me know what you think. I always love to hear everybody else's opinions. I think everybody's entitled to their own opinion, so please be nice. Alright, if you enjoyed this and want to see the other ones, make sure and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, this is Lava Temptress. Don't get burned. Bye!